Defense pick up one touchdown. Kick game pick up one touchdown. We got this game won.
Welcome back to the Skuchdown Report, an all-inclusive deep dive into the inner workings of the Chase Estates Fantasy Football League. I'm your host, Austin, aka A-Dub, and today with me I have probably the best-spoken person in our entire group chat, a gentleman who just got back from the depths of Atlanta, really close to Clark, Atlanta. I'm very happy to have him on here with me. Welcome to the podcast, Senor Kyle Bell.
And I think the only reason you said I was well-spoken is because during the mic test I was complimenting Carson Wentz.
Yeah, that helps, man. That helps. So welcome in, Mr. Bell. How are you doing? How was your trip to Atlanta?
It was good. So I know last time we were unofficially sponsored by Bud Light.
I love it.
This one we're going to go with Miller Lite in a shout out to the Springets, just because I know that was his dad's beer. Yeah, Atlanta was good, man. My buddy from Georgia lives down in Noonan, about 40 minutes outside of Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
He had been up here for a while, went to junior college at Dean, went to Bryant, moved back down home and went to visit. He bought a house, went to visit him. We went to his high school football game on Friday night,
Nice.
Stars Mill in Peachtree City.
How is high school sports down there in Georgia? I never got to go see a high school game, but I imagine it's like when I lived in California.
Honestly, it's nice. Like, I don't know about still, but it's very close to Bryant. Like, I went like a Division I AA college in Rhode Island. It's about the same,
Yeah.
which is insane. And then he's in Division, I think it was like 5A, but there's 7A. So he was explaining it to me that the difference of like what his team would do to Middletown is what a 7A team would do to his team. So like the jump is like Valdosta High School and like all those crazy schools in Georgia and like all the ones in Atlanta. I think Deshaun Watson's from down there. Crazy. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then Saturday we just went to a bar to watch the noon games, then back to his house to watch the Georgia Bulldogs.
Nice.
Beat down on the Tennessee Tom Volunteers.
Yeah, I have some family members that are humongous Georgia Bulldog fans. They've had a rough couple of years.
A roommate who was a big Tennessee fan. He was actually at his twin brother was at the game, so he's very good friends with Noshawn Moreno, which is super random. But
that is random.
He had some sideline passes, and then got to go to the Falcons game on Sunday. So Nugget always yells at me and makes fun of me for saying like I know somebody who works for X, Y, and Z sports franchises, but my former defensive coordinator's daughter is a coaching operations director for the Falcons, so she got us some pretty cool like field level club access. So I sent a couple of the pictures and videos.
I saw that, dude. When I had a brother-in-law who coached for the Saints, and that was the only time I was able to go to a game. But this is when the Chargers were playing at StubHub, so it wasn't even really like a football stadium. It was like a soccer stadium, so it didn't even really feel like an NFL game. It was still cool. But that Atlanta stadium, I've never been there. They used to have the old Georgia Dome when I lived there, but it looks absurd.
So I've been to, when I was living in Texas, went to a game at the Cowboys, went to LSU versus Miami at the AT&T, and like they're similar, but I think Atlanta's nicer.
Yeah, I mean it just looks stupid from the outside in. They got chosen as one of the World Cup cities. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we went to the College Football Hall of Fame, like a half a mile down the block. Spent a couple hours in there. It was cool. I don't know, it was a little underwhelming, but did a lot of cool stuff in there, and then hung out for the game. Couldn't really see. It was like, I guess the downside of the level, but the whole board goes around, so you could see everything. But the energy was unmatched. It was a lot of fun.
I can imagine.
Apparently hanging out with like players' families and stuff, and didn't even realize that like Grady Jarrett's wife was standing 2 feet away from us, and then he came over to say hi to him before the game. He's a monster.
Yeah,
it was
Grady.
Cool. They lost, unfortunately. There was some big fantasy plays. I was getting texts from Zach about Cordell Patterson the entire time. So
yeah, tell me about it, dude. I binged Tyler Algier, but I was watching that game mainly because I knew you were there. And the Falcons aren't as bad as people think they are. I didn't realize how much they run the ball until I watched their game, dude.
Is anybody as bad as we think they are?
Yes, I would say the Raiders suck.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think the Commanders are that good. I think we're just getting lucky.
Game, though. I don't know. This is the drunkest NFL season I've ever seen.
I agree. Okay, so having said all that, I'm gonna give you some. This is gonna be my what do you call it? This is my icebreaker for the week. So in a couple weeks here, the World Cup's going to be starting. I don't know if you're a big soccer fan. I was hoping to get Nico on here for you. So I'm gonna do a quick little quiz on you. We're gonna see how well you know world football. So the first thing I want to ask is USA did make the World Cup, right? Can you name me one player who will be starting for the U.S. men's national soccer team?
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. Will you be rooting for them, or are you going to choose a different country?
Of course, I'll watch. I'll drink and watch some games.
Okay.
Can't say I've followed football enough to name a guy.
Okay. The next question was going to be a little bit harder.
Morgan is the only American football player that I can mention just because she's gorgeous.
Can you name me 5 countries that will be playing in the World Cup?
Yeah, I'd assume Brazil. Italy.
Okay. Italy is actually I don't know if Italy's in it.
They're not. What? I just know the Italians are good at soccer from kicking and screaming.
They are. Okay. Like Brazil for sure. Brazil's probably the favorite to win.
With Portugal, England.
Yes.
Mexico.
Yes.
5. US, Canada.
Okay, there we go. That's impressive. I was gonna.
I just named all the big countries. I don't think
I was gonna ask you to name me one player from each country.
Allowed in. I couldn't get one from my own country.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I thought that was going to be a shoo-in. There's really only one good player for USA. Just look out for a guy named Christian Pulisic. He plays for Chelsea. He's probably the only good player on the USA team.
I've seen him in some commercials.
Yeah.
Is he an Adidas?
Yeah, he's the only person in commercials because everyone else stinks on the USA team. But he's the only player that plays in Europe, so he'll be pretty decent.
Adidas Soccer did a collab with Rick and Morty, so that's the only reason it kind of caught my attention.
That's random. All right, so the first section we're going to get into in terms of fantasy football is rule changes. We just recently made a Discord, which I'm a huge fan of. I'm glad that this fantasy league's finally coming into the new millennium. We've been stuck in ESPN and group chats for like 10 years. But so the first thing I did was I made a couple different rooms. So the first room you have is fantasy chat, and then I also made a non-fantasy chat, which I think will keep guys like Dan and Mike in the Discord a little bit longer if they don't have to sift through the like Maddie Will random girl pictures and
Yeah, but instead we still get the sex swing that's not going anywhere, and Tom Brady's kid kissing him on the mouth so far has been the content that
I also made sure I made a Nugget and Zach debate room, so if there ever is any time they need to argue, like they have their own room they can go do it in, which I think is probably the best part about this Discord, honestly. I made a room for Skuchdown, so you can always get there.
I need more things. I need something else to distract me from doing my job. This is good.
And then I made a trade talk because that's another section we'll get into later, some of these trades that are happening. But I do think that the league needs more trade, good or bad. I think we just need to mix it up a little bit more. But yeah, that's really all we're looking at in terms of the Discord. But my favorite Discord room that we have is the rule changes. So I'm going to go through a few of these, Kyle. We'll discuss them in depth. And you give me what you voted for. I'll tell you what I voted for. Hopefully we're opposing so that we can make a case for either way. So the first one I have here is move to Sleeper or stay on ESPN. It's currently at 6-4. It's winning in favor of Sleeper. Which way did you vote?
I voted up. Change it.
Yeah, me too.
I think the big argument for why we haven't left is like the league history.
Yeah, and which I think is cool.
I've never won anything, so I don't care. And I think in the league, like the second shortest tenure of the league. I don't know if we'd have to check that, but I don't care about the league history. But I don't know. I'd just like to mix it up. I have a couple of teams in ESPN. I have one in Yahoo, which is terrible. ESPN's definitely better than Yahoo.
So have you ever used Sleeper before?
No, because you've been talking it up for a couple of years, and
I have.
I don't think you've ever. You finally put the foot down and put it to a vote. I want to see. Can you see who voted for what?
I can. I don't know if I can see on my phone or on my computer.
And on other, who's CJ?
That's Colton.
Spell it. Oh, of course it is. Stupid. Yeah, he voted no. I think it looks like so. Out of are there 12 people? Yeah, so we got 10. We got a good. That's a tight one though. So if we got 2 more people.
I know, dude. I'm really hoping that stays. Sleeper. I've been in there for a few of my other leagues, and it's one of those things that once you get there, it's gonna feel weird at first because you're so used to just like the vanilla ESPN. But once you like use it for a week or two, you're gonna be like, how could we not have had this? Like, this is so much better and easier to do everything. Really, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in just to mix it up. I'm always into.
And to play devil's advocate, I do understand staying with ESPN. We've had it since, I mean, Jesus, since you could do fantasy on the computer. I think before that we used to do it on the newspaper. So I understand the nostalgia of like keeping that around. But also, like, I think 4 or 5 of the people have been replaced since we started the league. So like, who cares about league history if the current league we've currently had has only been in place for like a year or two, you know? But anyways,
I'm in on that one.
So I hope that goes through. I think that's going to be a huge bump for this league, honestly. Like, we might not even need a group chat once we get to Sleeper because there's a built-in group chat, which is way easier to use than ESPN. But anyways, that's the first one. The second one we have here is add an extra flex or keep it the same. And currently this is 5-3 in favor of adding a flex.
I was looking through them, and I guess I did not vote on that one.
Okay, fair enough. So perfect opportunity for you to give us.
I'm gonna throw a thumbs up to that one too. I just think it'd be more more scoring. I think
Agreed.
My big dilemma every week is I don't know if I've had a score over 100 in this league all year. So just like for my own self-esteem, it would be nice.
It just adds more depth too. Like you have to do a little bit more digging. Bench spots will be a little bit more important.
So many like mid-level players that are always projected to get like 10 or 11 points, and it would be nice to just be able to play both of them.
Yeah, agreed. And it makes those like third wide receivers and like backup running backs more valuable. Like all of a sudden Isaiah Pacheco is like super valuable compared to like, you know, I'm trying to think like JD McKissick. Like you really have to have those arguments with yourself every week, which I like that. I think if we do end up getting that approved, since I didn't specify about the flex, I think we'll have to have another vote about, is it a super flex or is it just a regular flex? I'm assuming everyone thinks this is regular flex. Do you know what a super flex is, by the way?
The QBs?
Yeah, so any position at all. It could be defense, QB, anything you want. I think people will be opposed to that.
I mean, it would just change your, it's fair for everyone. I mean, we all have the same opportunity to draft, but I mean, then no one can argue about Zach playing Taysom Hill, and it doesn't matter what position he's playing. He can.
Yeah, I mean, so the other league that I had that all these things that we're about to go through, we do all of these in this league. It's an experimental league, which I like. We have a super flex. We tried it for a year and we took it away because it made quarterbacks too valuable. Yeah. Like your first 2 picks are always a quarterback, you know?
I would like to keep it
But I think a regular flex, wide receiver, tight end, running back, I think would be perfect. So the next one we have here is, which is hilarious, thumbs up for RB2 to flex, thumbs down to keep it the same. And right now it's 9-1. This was Nugget's bold statement here. He wanted to eliminate the running back 2 and instead to have that be the second flex. And I think everyone except for Nugget voted down on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about it in the other chat or even here. I don't know. It's just, it makes tier running backs, I guess, like super valuable, but you know, I just there's something special about having to start 2 running backs, whether or not. Yeah. I mean, that's just how fantasy football has always been. You got to get 2 good running backs, or at least get 1 good one and hope you can hit a home run on the second one. You know, which is like Josh Jacobs, for example. Like that's a perfect example of like you didn't think he was going to be that good, but like because he was on the bench every time he had a good game.
Right? Yeah. So that was that one. That looks like it's not going to go through, so we won't have to talk about that too much more. But the next one we have was thumbs up for full dynasty, thumbs down for no. And currently the only 2 people that have voted for this are myself and Mike. I know Zach mentioned in the group chat earlier, if we were to do this, like would we redraft and would it be auction? And probably. It would be unfair to just next year start dynasty. Doesn't look like this is going to go through. I do full dynasty in that other crazy league I was telling you about, which I love. Because like there are truly good teams year in and year out, and your trades matter, and like younger players matter. For example, I think someone traded Tom Brady for Kenneth Walker, and this is like before that dude got hurt. This is like before the running back got hurt. So this is like the second week, and like that's a big deal because that other person is going for the championship this year, but Tom Brady might be out of the league next year. So,
well, he might be broke after the
yeah.
Those Fox money comes in. I don't know how much money he had in the FTX, but
yeah, well, that's not going to go through. I still think it's a cool idea, but I think a lot of people said if we were to do that, they were out. But something interesting to think about moving forward. The next one we have here is thumbs up for tradable draft picks, thumbs down for no, and it looks like it's 8-2 in favor of tradable draft picks. This is a no-brainer to me. I don't know why we weren't able to do this before.
I think we'd have to have a separate conversation about like what that means. I think
Yeah.
was it Nugget bring up a pretty good point that like I could just to get an extra pick trade you a player that I can't keep, and there's definitely some situations where people could take advantage of it. But I think if we all just talk about it enough, we could figure out some cool things. But yeah, I think that would be cool to say like, hey, I'll give you two twos for your number one. Like I really want this guy, and then you just get skipped, and then you have an open position that you have to fill with somebody who wasn't drafted. I'd definitely be cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, it really leans into like tanking. Like if you want to tank this year, you truly can. Or if you want to sell the whole team for this year, you can. Which, if you want to do that, you should be able to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anything should be restricted to just 1 year. So I love that idea. I also think the reason we weren't able to do it was because you physically can't do it in ESPN, which is another reason I'm excited to go to Sleeper. All right, so the next one we have here is thumbs up for remove kickers, thumbs down for keep kickers. And currently it's 7-3 in favor of keeping kickers. And I don't like this. Get them out of here, man. It takes no skill.
Zach's too biased. His vote shouldn't count, and then we gotta get some votes. I'm a fan of that. So my college league, we do no kickers. We do. So I was just looking on the phone. We do no kickers, but a third wide receiver. So we have quarterback, two backs, three wideouts, flex, tight end, defense.
I like that idea too. I mean, a super flex instead of that other wide receiver is cool too. But the idea
I
of
would be totally down for
there's just nothing worse than losing to a kicker and you know the person had no thought process behind who to start. It's just like, I don't know, I'll grab Ryan Suckup, you know, like sucks. All right, so that was kickers.
I'm not a fan of kickers.
No, I mean, I'm mad it's going to stay there, but whatever. I mean, if we're going to keep kickers, I guess it keeps the classic fantasy feel. The next one we have, which I'm pretty sad is not going to go through, is thumbs up for fab-based waiver wire, thumbs down for no. So before you say anything, let me explain what this is, because a few people I don't think knew what it really was, and I think that's why they voted down. All right, so here's what fab is. Everyone starts the year with $100 in theory. It could be any amount of money you wanted. It could be 200, 300, doesn't matter. And every week when the waiver wire processes, you do a blind bid. So let's just say Kenneth Walker was out there, and I really wanted him on my team. I had $50 left in my fab, and I was willing to spend all $50 of it to get him. You can bid anywhere between 0 to 50, and whoever bid the highest gets that player. So obviously you can bid 0, and if no one bid on that player, you get that player. So you don't have to spend your money that way.
Yeah, I didn't know it was blind. That's interesting.
It's all blind. So it's like, how do you value that player? And if someone wants to spend all their fab week 1, you can let them, or you can, play it a little bit smarter. Like me, for example, in my league, I still have like $70 left in my fab going into playoffs. So like essentially no one has any more money left. So I can just bid $5. Yeah, you can see what other people have left. So I think the only other person has 15 fab. So I can literally bid 16 on any player I want and I automatically get that player. Which it's just a different strategy. It's definitely different than waiver wire, but I think the waiver wire is broken because it incentivizes like these like I'm not going to put in a waiver wire order. I'm just going to pick someone up after the waiver wire's over. And it's like you could do the same thing with fab, but it's just like give everyone a shot at getting a player every week,
I think I definitely have the least popular and probably dumbest opinion about the waiver wire, where I just feel like if somebody's available and you click take yours immediately. I know that like the when people work and who's awake, but I forget who it was, but I had a running back got hurt. I immediately went to put in his backup, and then 4 days later I found out I didn't get him, and it's just like because I picked up a wideout the week before. So I don't pay attention enough to like the ins and outs of the waiver wire, so I could definitely learn about it and do it a little more strategically. But I've always been like, if somebody's available, I should be able to take him immediately, first come, first serve. But I know that'll be
it is to 1. So it is that way between Wednesday to Sunday. Like any time after the waiver period, after Wednesday, you can pick anybody up, no problem. But the other downside to the way we have it right now is, let's say I pick up Kenneth Walker and I drop Isaiah Pacheco. No one can pick up Isaiah Pacheco until Friday. So in my other league, it's a 1-day waiver. So if I drop someone, everyone gets to blind bid on him, and the next day you get to get him. It's not like you have to wait 4 or 5 days for this player to be there. Like I think a few weeks ago, Mike dropped a player on Saturday, which Tom could have used on Sunday, but Tom couldn't pick him up because he dropped him. Like, so there's ways you can like play keep away, Yeah. But anyways, right now looks like it's not going to go through. It's 3-7. That's the one I was really hoping we could get changed, but it doesn't look like it. But hopefully, after my description, people change their votes because these votes are you can change these votes all the way up until the end of the year.
I mean, same thing. If we switch to sleeper and like you said, you have a bit of an experimental league, I'd be down. It's not like we play in this league for a lot of money. You know, it's mostly just to talk shit to each other and have fun. So I would be down to do it for a year and see how we like it. And
just a test to see what we like it, and then we can eventually bring it over here if we really want to.
If that vote's close, maybe I'll swing it. I'll swing it close to the end.
Yeah, we'll see. We got some time. I'm hoping I can convince some people once they don't get some waivers they want. So the next one we have is poll. So it's thumbs up for full PPR, thumbs down for half PPR, and right now it's tied 5-5. This is interesting because when people first started voting, everyone voted no, and then all of a sudden it switched the past couple days. And we have had full PPR before. We switched to half point mainly because of Wes Welker. And now we have Cooper Kupp. So I think that's the same argument stands there. But I understand it. I mean, full points. Essentially it's the same thing. But I just at that point, I just want to leave it the same way it is right now. You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I voted yes to do it just because I think it's just because I have it in all of my other leagues. It's the only league that I have that's not full PPR. But
yeah, either way, I don't think that's a game breaker. The whole reason we changed it was because players that are like reception based can have more than a player like. I think, don't you have who's the running back for the Titans or for the Texans?
Damian Pierce.
Yeah, he had like 180 yards the other day and had 18 points compared to it was
140. So yeah, that's annoying. But like then I also have Leonard Fournette who has like 6 yards, like 6 catches.
Right, and has the same amount.
Whatever helps me. Yeah, whatever helps me the most. I feel like week. I'll change my vote.
I just think running backs that are like that, like Derrick Henry and like Isaiah, I forget his name already, but like those two players, if you're a good running back, you should still be able to be valuable. You shouldn't be undervalued because you don't catch passes. Like that's weird.
I think I brought up bonuses, and I don't know if I've ever seen Nugget type faster about how mad he was. Like, absolutely not. Like I think if you get a running back who goes over 100 yards rushing, there should be a little bit extra.
I think we should do a bonus. If we're going to change to full point PPR, then I do like the incentive of certain ones, like rushing. It should definitely be rushing ones. So like if your quarterback rushes for over 100 yards, you should get an extra 5 points. If your running back rushes for over 100 yards, you should get an extra 3 points. Like it doesn't have to be a whole bunch, but just enough to level the playing field. Because in no world should Leonard Fournette be a better running back than Nick Chubb. You know what I mean?
I'm still trying to figure out because I have him and I cannot figure out how he's a top 10 player.
It's because he's a dump off machine, dude. Tom Brady passes the ball to him 10 times a week.
He's ninth. He's ranked 9th right now.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't had a bad year, but again, I think he has by far the most receptions as a running back, and that's the main reason. He's a terrible running back, if we're being honest.
It's not wild. He had 10 catches. There was one game he had 10 catches, but
yeah. So the next one we're going to get into is so thumbs up for quarterback passing touchdown at 6, thumbs down for keep it at 4, and everyone's voted yes on this. Obviously this year we've seen a drop off in quarterback play. There's like 3 good quarterbacks, and everyone else is just trying to get 10 points from their quarterback. So I'm fully into this because, I mean, Jesus, man. I have to go looking at, dude, between Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, like, it's just a stink show after you get past, like, Jalen Hurts, you know?
I was pumped about Jalen Hurts all season, so I have him in a couple leagues. But again, same thing, more scoring. I think it'll elevate the top. It'll also elevate, like, the middle of the pack, guys that are only throwing for 1 or 2. It just helps a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think throwing touchdowns should be valuable. You know, it doesn't happen that often anymore, so I think we should give them more points. All right, next one we have here is thumbs up to change 2-point conversions to 2 points, thumbs down to keep it at 1 point. I didn't realize it was only 1 point, so I was down for that. I mean, that was an easy vote up. And the next one is thumbs up to make the trade deadline the same as the NFL trade deadline, thumbs down to keep it no trade deadline. I also didn't know there's no trade deadline, which is pretty weird. So I'm all down for that too. There should be a point where you can't improve your team anymore. Because like
I don't know. I feel like I haven't noticed like anybody taking super advantage outside of like the trading the keepers.
Yeah, we don't trade enough to make it a thing. But like, what if this year I did make the playoffs and all of a sudden I sold my whole team for draft picks? You got to think we're going to be able to trade draft picks next year. So like, with that should also come a trade deadline.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then I think we mentioned like I wouldn't be opposed to you have like if you trade. You're not allowed to keep someone you traded for. I think that would stop a lot of like we talk about like trying to get parity.
Yeah. But just
Like, you
just
can't-
envision this, Kyle, right? It's the last week, and I know I'm going to lose to Nuggets, so I trade you AJ Brown for your second round pick, and I trade you, I don't know, another good player for your third round pick, and now all of a sudden I have no one because I could care less, and you're way better than every other team in the playoffs. You know?
Yeah, no, I do like that. I think the league can still veto trades, right?
True. That's true. Yeah.
That should stay. Like if somebody's doing something obviously ridiculous that enough people need to pay attention that no.
Well, that's a perfect transition into the next segment, which is trade talk. We're going to talk about a few trades that happened. Really, it was only one that happened, which we'll just get right into it. So it was Nugget versus Zach. There's big controversy in the group chat. I think there was 900 total text messages sent back and forth regarding this trade. And for clarification, the trade was Zach gave Nugget Nick Chubb, and in return, Zach got Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, and Ramondre Stevenson. And this is interesting on a couple different levels. I won't soapbox for the thing that I said in the group chat because I don't want, it's my platform. I don't want to just, down talk Nugget the whole time. But my point was essentially that Nugget talked shit about Zach the entire year, right? He said Zach's team was terrible. He wasn't going to make the playoffs, this, that, and the third. And then when it came time for Nugget to benefit from this, he decided, you know what? We'll let Zach win the Super Bowl. I'll give him all my players, and I'll take Nick Chubb in return, which we can talk about later if we truly think that's going to happen. I don't, but the fact that Nugget was willing to do that is that was my only issue was that. And then also the fact that Nugget said that he tried to trade with other people before trading with Zach. Now, that is true. He did try to trade with 3 people before trading with Zach, but never did he offer the same thing that he offered to Zach to us. And I understand his argument of you don't have Nick Chubb, so why would I give you 3 players for Nick Chubb? I completely get that, but he can't make the statement that like that he tried his hardest to not trade with Zach because clearly he was just going for the best offer he could get.
I didn't see. I was not offered any trades. I don't have a package to put together like that. I don't have a player like Chubb, so I guess. And Zach, they're bullshitters. They love each other so much. It's so cute.
Yeah, they want to kiss.
Like American. Like Tom Brady and his kid. I don't know who Brady is. I don't know who the kid is, but it's very similar vibes.
And so let's talk about the actual trade for a second because while the whole everything around the trade is whatever, I do think it was a fair trade. You mentioned we had the opportunity to veto it. And we did. Everyone had an opportunity to veto it. I even looked at it and thought to myself, the first thing I thought when I saw that trade go through is, oh, this is not going to go through. And then I looked at it for like 5 minutes and I was like, no, you know what? Like, that seems fair. Like, I don't have any argument with it.
I mean, I had Pollard in another league and he obviously had a great game, but I don't trust that he's going to be the heavy.
Well, he's a backup. I mean, call a spade, like he's the backup.
Better. But crazy ass Jerry Jones will make sure that the coach runs him, gives Zeke the ball 20 times. I think Pollard's better than Zeke, but
100%.
When he's healthy, he's going to split carries. And same thing, as much as I think Ramondre's better than Damian Harris, when he's healthy,
Agreed.
He's going to split carries, and Chubb's going to be a bell cow. So it's a little, and then quarterback, like we said, has been a toss up all year.
Well, that's why I said it was fair because Nick Chubb is a certified RB1. He's going to be a great keeper, right? So Nugget knows what he's getting with him. But what Zach essentially did was he gave up the best piece of his team to in return get 2 question marks in running backs. Not necessarily question marks, but like let's talk about Tony Pollard, right? So he's a backup right now, but the problem is Ezekiel Elliott's still on that team. So while he's still on that team, it's going to be hard for him to really get that role. But there's a possibility that next year they trade Zeke, and then all of a sudden Tony Pollard becomes like a great keeper. So but that's like a risk that Zach's taking. Same thing with Ramondre, I would say. He's in a split backfield right now. He's getting most of the work because Harris is hurt. But once Harris is back, from what we've seen already, they split carries. But who knows? Next year, that could be completely different. Damian Harris could not be re-signed, and Ramondre Stevenson looks like the best keeper. So it's 2 risks, in my opinion, on Zach's behalf.
The Patriots could grab a guy selling hot dogs and make him the offensive coordinator next year. You never.
That's fair. And then I also said I think Dak Prescott was just kind of like the postage stamp on this trade. I don't think Zach truly wanted Dak Prescott, but Zach has been starting Derek Carr all year, so I think that's an upgrade for him. But at the same point in time, I don't think Dak's. What's that?
CD Lamb I have CD Lamb. He's been my keeper, and it's just been like one of the more. I don't know if we should rank maybe towards the end of the year, maybe at a wrap up like most disappointing keepers
Hmm.
individually and collectively because I have to be up there with Josh Jacobs. And
No,
CD Lamb.
Josh Jacobs was pretty good, but yeah, CeeDee Lamb hasn't, and that I think that's mainly. I consider Dak like the definition of an average quarterback. Like he's not. He's Black Kirk Cousins. That's exactly what he is. Kirk Cousins is a beneficiary of a great offensive coach and great players around him. But we've seen what he can do with bad players around him. He's not necessarily a great quarterback, but he can get you wins. He's not going to lose you the game most of the time. He's just going to kind of get you by.
Almost every season, if you put his numbers up at the end of the year and you say, like, would you be happy with this as your quarterback for a fantasy league or for a real football team? You'd say, yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's just not. The idea that they're on a one-way path to the Super Bowl is hilarious to me because I don't know if that team's really a Super Bowl team.
And it's the drunkest NFL season I've ever seen because I feel like the Vikings have been on. Like the Eagles kicked the crap out of them, but Kirk threw like in primetime. Kirk threw 5. He tried to throw 6 picks. I think he threw 4 in that game.
The Commanders could have beat them yesterday. Absolutely. Like I think if they call that interception and not a pass interference, I don't know if you watched the game thoroughly.
I saw the highlights.
But at the end of the game, they threw a pass at Jefferson. It was a pick 6, and the game essentially would have been over, but they called it PI. And then from there, we fell apart. Heineke threw an interception, which that first touchdown should have been an interception as well, the one where he ran over the ref. Like, that was hilarious. But we could have won that game is all I'm saying. The Vikings aren't convincingly beating these people. They're not like the Eagles are 7-0, and they're like a great 7-0 team. Or are they 8-0?
Many ever games they've played, they're that.
They're undefeated and they look like an undefeated team. The Vikings to me look like a team that have gotten lucky.
Dallas and the Eagles in the NFC is going to be. Hopefully, they can meet in the playoffs because they're going to meet end of the season. Be super big because I don't think the Eagles will lose a game here or there just because it's such a weird season. But yeah, they're playing good.
So that's all I got for trade talk. There wasn't even really any other trades made. There's a lot of trades sent. I don't know if you were sent a lot of trades. I got sent a shitload of trades.
I don't have anyone good enough for anybody to try to get on their roster, but Matt said he needs a running back 3. I tried to get him Jeff Wilson. I tried to send Colton Jeff Wilson.
Kyle,
he's like the 27th ranked running back. It's not great, but for an RB3, it could be worse.
Kyle, I received like 8 trades. No, that's an exaggeration. I received 4 trades for AJ Dillon. And I don't know why everyone's targeting AJ Dillon. He's not that good, and I'm like trying to figure out why that's the one person everyone wants.
Suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I started him last week, and he's terrible. But I don't know. We'll see. So next, what we'll do is we'll talk about. Let me pull up here. What do you want to do next? Do you want to do injuries, or do you want to do last week recap?
Let's go injuries first.
Okay, let me pull up the injuries here.
I've been recovering mentally and trying to catch up on work. So I've been paying too close attention to what's been going on. I just know that Dameon Pierce is now questionable for some reason.
Wait, why is that playing? Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to get into some injuries, and I'll go through some of these pretty fast. There were some pretty big ones, some pretty small ones. So first one we'll talk about, which no one cares about. Baker Mayfield replaced PJ Walker at the half. They said it was because PJ Walker wasn't doing so well, but it turns out he did tweak his ankle, and that was the main reason he was taken out. I don't know if anyone cares about that except for DJ Moore owners, because PJ Walker loved throwing to DJ Moore, and Baker Mayfield does not. So we'll see how that goes. Next one I have here is Romeo Doubs. So Romeo Doubs, who was on my team, he suffered a rib injury. Or no, I'm sorry. He suffered an ankle injury, and he's been ruled out already for the next 4 to 5 weeks, I believe. So he's going to be a drop in pretty much every fantasy league. But he suffered an ankle injury. He was carted off. That was sad. Luckily, I still got the win, but, didn't look good.
Wasn't doing too much. Wasn't really doing much anyway. I think I have him in 2 other leagues and flexed him over Dallas Goedert, who had 24 points. So.
Yeah, he was a long shot. He had one good week, and everyone was hoping he was going to be the guy in Green Bay, and he never really was. So this is kind of like a thank you. Like, now you don't have the option to start him.
They don't have one at all. So Green Bay's tough. There's a lot of bad teams, man. It's weird.
Yeah, sticking with Green Bay, Aaron Jones left with an ankle injury. He said he's slated to play this week, but something to monitor. Maybe A.J. Dillon takes a step forward and finally gets more than 10 rushing attempts. We'll see.
That's why you're getting all those trade requests for him.
It honestly could be. Okay, so from Jacksonville Jaguars, Evan Ingram suffered a back injury against Las Vegas. He's said to be day to day. Evan Ingram's been a solid tight end. I believe he's tight end number 7 on the year, so he's not terrible. But maybe you'll look to get a replacement for him. And that's really all I got in terms of important injuries. There's not too many going on. Do you have anything that you can think of?
No, just that I have, again, Damian Pierce missed practice today. Was limited in practice with his shoulder, so he's questionable, but I think he'll be all right. He's their whole team. It was nice to see. That was the first Texans game I've had him all year, and I like just from all the buzz early that he was going to be good. And Thursday was really the first game I actually like the whole game of his that I got to watch with the Eagles and Houston in prime time on Thursday. So he's a good player. He might end up being a keeper for me.
Yeah, Damien Harris is solid. I mean, so practice reports. I haven't even looked up practice reports yet. But if I know there's a few players, like I believe what's his name is coming back this week. Deebo Samuel's slated to play this week. There's a lot of people that were out that are coming back this week. But I don't have that all pulled up here. Maybe I can do that next time. Because if I'm going to do it midweek, we might as well have that. All right, so that's all I got for injuries. Not too much going on, but we'll keep you updated if anything does change. Next, we're going to talk about our Week 9 games. This is our previous week's games. So the first one we'll talk about here, we'll start from the bottom to the top this time. So the first game we have is the Barack Obamas versus Chicago Chubs, Nuggets' new namesake. So this is Colton versus Nugget. Nugget actually got his first win of the year. I did slate him to win last week when I did my prediction, so I'm glad he got to pull that out. Unfortunate for Colton, he's going to fall back to 3-6. Nuggets at 1-8 right now. Hopefully he doesn't pull a... What's that?
Never agreed on a punishment, right? We don't have a punishment for the league.
We don't have a punishment. I think we should just make someone eat like the hot chip. I think that's a really easy one to go to, you know? Something that everyone would do.
In my college league, so it's a bunch of fat kids. So any kind of cardio is going to be like a pretty like life-threatening punishment. So you have to go to it. It has to be outdoors, a track, and it's going to be January. Run a lap, drink a beer, run a lap, drink a beer. So 4 laps, 4 beers, and then a hot dog. So
that sounds terrible.
I
forget whose league it was in. I think it was no, I do know which league it's in. It's my West Coast league with a couple of my buddies. Last year the loser had to go and take one karate class. It was hilarious. I will give you that. The other one was you have to get one of the license plates that says like I'm a boss bitch, and you have to wear that for a whole month.
Like that. Yeah, one of the funnier ones I heard, I had a coworker who went to Ohio State, and they were all like finance majors and econ and accounting and going to Ohio State Business School. They had to apply for and get and work at a fast food restaurant for 1 month.
Oh my
so
god!
Had, like, guys doing like Morgan Stanley internships and then working at McDonald's part time for a month, and I think that would be that's too much. Like it's funnier when you're in college. Obviously, people couldn't do that, but my sister's friends they make you take the SATs again.
Oh, that's terrible.
When kids lost like 4 years in a row, he's got to keep taking the SATs.
The best one I have is my league I have with my other Cali league that I have with my friends, and that one is every year they have a live draft, and whoever the loser is has to be the maid or like the server for the whole draft. So if anyone wants a beer, you have to get them a beer. Like that's like a tradition, and I love that one. And I was sad I wasn't able to go last year, but that's like a solid one. But okay, so the next game we got here. Anyway, well let me get back to that game real fast. So it was.
Recap, or are we doing looking ahead?
We're doing recap. So I'm going bottom to top. It was Nugget versus Colton. So Colton didn't get the win. Nugget really got the win because the New England Patriots had 26 points. That's insane. I mean, I forget who they played, but they absolutely steamrolled that team.
Colts. The Colts fired their coach after the game and hired a guy with 0 coaching experience. Like,
yeah.
That's how bad that was.
Yeah, I mean.
Wow, but Jeff Saturday is the new head coach of the.
Yeah, I've seen the buzz online about that. I don't know much about it. All I know is I think it's hilarious that black coaches don't get awarded the same. Like if you can just pull in any player who was a good player, Randy Moss is alive. Like go grab one of these guys.
I mean, Jeff Saturday was like the president of the Players Association. He played for 20 years. And
fair enough.
I get it, but like you said, there is like Pierre Garçon's on their coaching staff. Like he's a Colts Hall of Famer, I think. They have
Yeah.
and they have Gus Bradley's their D coordinator. Like they have lifetime coaches, and
Yeah,
Jim
not
Irsay's
to
a coach.
not to make everything racist, but I don't think this has ever happened for a black coach where they're just like, you know what, like what's LaDainian Tomlinson doing? Let him coach the team. Like I don't think that's ever happened. It's always been like some white guy.
Yeah,
Um,
and Jim Irsay is an absolute stone cold maniac. So like
yeah, I saw that press conference. He doesn't know what planet he's on.
he was saying he said that him not having any experience is a good thing because he doesn't know the fear, and like he's a crazy man. Like he inherited that team. He's covering, drug addict. Good for him, but
We'll see how that goes,
uh,
dude. Because the Colts look. It's very rare that there's a team worse than the Washington Commanders. I'm so used to being the worst team and all the drama surrounding us that it's weird to see another team. You know what I mean? Like, granted, our team is getting sold.
Want to know when it really started going downhill for them?
Matt Ryan.
Well, when they fabricated Deflategate.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck retired, and then they got to start getting, they bring in Rivers, they bring in Ryan. Now they're with a linebacker from Texas playing quarterback, and
Yeah.
they're firing coaches, and shouldn't have started that bullshit with the
Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger is the reason Michael Pittman's irrelevant, and I hate it.
I did like that was I tried to trade for Michael Pittman, Jim. He said no.
Still, even right now, he won't give him up.
I
Oh
think
man.
he either rejected it or it expired, and then I'm trying to fleece Matt right now. I hope he doesn't. I'm trying to get him on Ross St. Brown for Jeff Wilson just because they're positionally ranked pretty similar. But I don't think Matt's dumb enough to do that.
Well, either way, good win for Nugget. Congratulations on his first win. Hopefully, he doesn't pull a Jacksonville Jaguars and take himself out of contention for the first pick. We'll see. Or maybe that was the Oakland Raiders. No, it was the Jets. That's who it was. The Jets ended up winning enough games to not get Trevor Lawrence, and now they're stuck with that other guy. But congratulations to him. Tough loss for Colton. I had Colton picked as one of my playoff teams. I think he wins out the rest of the year. Hot take. We'll see.
I mean, he's got if you just look at Justin Herbert should be a top 3 guy. He's got Joe Burrow, who we can argue if top 3 the whole time, which is always funny. And then Cooper Kupp's the best receiver in the league. It's just like you said, 12 points out of Herbert.
I just think Cole. I don't know. This is super biased. I don't know. Every time I look at people's teams, he has a lot of players that I like on his team.
Nuggets team is ridiculous looking at it right now. Justin Jefferson, the Patriots defense, and Nick Folk.
It's not bad. It's really not that bad.
It's just funny that he scored so many points between the 3 of those, and then your quarterback had 7, RB1 had
Right.
2, Reynolds had 0, and he's still pulling off a win. So
Hey man, good for Nugget, man. Good to get his first win. Maybe that trade boosted him. We'll see how he does the rest of the season. All right, so the next game we have. The next game we have is Tegrity Farm Towels versus AS St. Etienne. That's Dan versus Nico. And Nico ended up being the top scorer this week with 151 points. I think everyone has underestimated Nico. He's currently 6-3, and his team.
Joe Mixon, you know what? Joe Mixon could have been Nuggets.
Joe Mixon could have been Nuggets. I've been soapboxing for Travis Etienne all year. He finally is the player we thought he was going to be. TJ Hawkinson is looking like a steal. We'll see how that goes, but Nico's team looks nasty also, I'll be honest with you. He's looking like a strong favorite to make playoffs.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're talking about injuries. I don't think he's listed, but they were talking about Josh Allen having a little bit of an elbow issue, but
I saw that. Is it really going to be a thing? Because if it is, I mean, that's Dan's whole team right there.
yeah. I mean, Miles Sanders and Kenneth Walker, he's got some solid running backs, and DeAndre Swift, he's got really good running backs. And then, like you said, Aaron Waller's been a disappointment all season, but
there's a reason he's 7-2. He's in first place currently.
I think he's got the best overall lineup. I think it's solid. There's no spots where it's not good.
Tough loss to Nico though. Maybe that might be a playoff battle in the next coming weeks. But Nico takes that first battle. Good for him. Dan falls to 7-2. Nico goes to 6-3. Nico's currently in third place and Dan's in first. The next game we have is Godin's Grinders versus Airsoft Thugs. This is Kyle versus Mike. So Kyle ended up winning 92.
Worst loss of the year.
What's that?
Loss of the year. I said it's the worst loss of the year for anybody.
Why do you say that?
Because he scored. I don't know. I think going into Monday night, he did like 20. I don't know, maybe 30 points total from Lamar. Alvin Kamara and Will Lutz and didn't get it.
Mm,
And I was texting Zach. I said, "There's just no way." And Kamara gets 7 points. Like Lamar's been, I have him in another league too. He's been okay, but the way he started the season, you thought he was going to break some records, and he's been okay. And then just
that was a boring game. Me and Tom had a whole bunch of players playing too, and really, essentially, nothing happened. I mean,
why does he have? He's got 3 quarterbacks.
yeah, I know. It's he's playing keep away. I'm telling you, he's playing keep away because every week he tries to trade me Geno Smith, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trading for him.
I don't know why not.
Right now, because I have the best running back in the league, Justin Fields. We'll talk about him later.
He's a beast.
He looks good. But yeah, so Kyle got the win, 92-81. Kyle's going to go to 4-5. He's currently in 7th. You have a strong chance to make the playoffs as well. I think of all the 4 and 5 teams, you're probably the most prepared, the most well-tooled to make the playoffs.
If I can figure out defense, I think I'll be pretty good. I try to pick and choose kind of based on matchups, and then this week I just forgot the Raiders.
The NFL's drunk though, man.
I've been in negative points. I think it was the Jaguars. I forget who they played the previous week. They had like 25 points, and then they played the Colts, who had 5. Like the week after the Colts had the game against the Broncos where they couldn't move the balls. Like,
yeah.
I'm definitely going to pick Jacksonville. They're going to sack Matt Ryan 40 times. Colts score 35 points, and it's -8 points. And
are you going to be starting the Raiders this week against Indianapolis? That seems like a good matchup.
They've burned me before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I can tell you firsthand, I work with a whole bunch of Raiders fans, and all they say that's wrong with the Raiders is the defense. That's like their number one thing.
They're definitely. I saw a stat about Matthew Judon. I don't know if we already talked about the Patriots defense a little bit, but
they're good.
He's been more productive. He's got more sacks, more pressures than Max Crosby and Chandler Jones combined.
Damn.
So I think the Raiders on paper, you think that they're going to be pretty good. They just haven't. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take Josh McDaniels back as the OC for the Patriots. I've talked a lot of shit about him the last few years, but after watching the offense,
you could use him. You could use him. Either way, though, you get a good win. You move to 4 and 5. You're currently in 7th place, and Mike falls to 2nd place, so he's 7 and 2. He's up there tied with Dan. The next game we have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Say Mike has a good, well-rounded. Even with all the quarterbacks, I think
he's been ready for playoffs for a while. Tyreek Hill might be the MVP of the league. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So the next game we have here is Dan Wagon Fan versus Fart Prescott and the boys. Great name there.
Zach has the 2 best names of the year.
I don't know, dude. I still think Barack Obama's is the best name in our league. That's just a great name. Fart Prescott and the boys is might be edging him out though. But Fart Prescott and the boys did get the win this week, or last week I should say. So he scored 124 to Dan's 99, or Brando. I'm sorry, I always call him Dan. To Brando's 99. They're both going to be 6 and 3 after this game. Zach is technically 4th because of points 4, and Brando's going to fall to 6th. But Zach really only won because of Devontae Adams and Derek Carr. Okay, so here's what I said about Zach's team and why I thought he wasn't going to make the playoffs. If he had not traded for Fart Prescott, he would have lived and died by the Las Vegas offense, which is not something you want to do, you know? Like, luckily they had a good week this week, but
yeah, if you're gonna live and die by Devontae, I feel like for the past 4 years you'd be cool with that, but for some reason that's just not. It's drunk. Everything on paper should make sense. They got a good OC. They got college teammates playing together. And
yeah.
I don't know. He's had games where he's had 3 points.
Well, I don't know if he starts Derek Carr this week. I mean, he's traded for Fart Prescott for a reason, so I have a feeling he's going to start him and the boys. We'll see.
They're playing. I think they're playing the Packers next week, and the Packers have one of the worst defenses in the league. And
they're really injured. But good win for Zach. We'll see how he does next week. I think he and Brando are already kind of in the playoffs as long as they don't, have a falling out there. The next game we have is Amon Ra. Who is he raw dogging this week? It's Amon Raw Dog somebody. I can't even see the end of it, but Matt's raw dogging. And then we have Colpo's second boyfriend, so it's Jim versus Matty Will.
Honestly, that one's funny, so you can't see the end of it, and Matt's name is Amon Raw Dog Colpo.
Okay, so.
They're both referring to Miss Universe from Rhode Island, if that goes over your head.
Is that who Colpo is? I have no idea who the hell that is.
Olivia Colpo, yeah, is from Bristol or something. She's Christian McCaffrey's Boo thing.
Okay, I got to look her up. Do some research. But Matty Will did pull out the win, and Matty Will has been a sneaky good team all year. He is 6-3 after the win, and Jim's going to fall to 3-6. Not a lot of talk about Jim's fall off from grace. He's been historically one of the better teams, and he's down there in 9th. He's in bad company with Nugget and Tom at 3-6.
He's got a weird. I mean, Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. I think if you can plug those in the next few weeks, he's going to have.
He was. I'm pretty sure he was my favorite to win the entire league, and he has disappointed me.
But Matt, like you said, Matt's got 3 really good running backs.
Sneaky good team. DeAndre Hopkins helped him out so much.
Kyle Pitts has been a pretty bad disappointment, but
if Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts is the worst part of his starting lineup, and that's not too bad.
So at one point during that Falcons game, my friend and I were the only 2 white people in like a 40-yard radius, and Kyle Pitts caught his second of 2 passes for the game, and I just was we've been drinking. I go, holy shit, he caught the ball. And the guy next to me, who was he's a cool older black dude, was like, you have him a fantasy? And we started just talking about fantasy football for the rest of the year. They were fed up with him in Atlanta, and he looks like a monster too.
Yeah, he's what 6'6", 6'5". That's crazy.
And he's lean, but he's just jacked, and it doesn't make sense. Like I said, that their offense makes no sense. They can't throw the ball. They've drafted Drake London super
like
high.
I said, dude, I've never seen someone. I watched their whole game because you were there, and they run the ball so much. Like I was like, damn, maybe they can support 2 running backs.
I think Mariota's half decent, but
True.
We'll see. Yeah, but Matt snagged Deshaun Watson, I think, like with one of his last picks.
I was going to mention here. I was going to mention interesting build for Matty Will. He's the only other team with 3 quarterbacks, and his third quarterback is that linebacker you were talking about, Sam Ehlinger. I don't know what is going on or why he's on his bench.
Pick him up.
I don't get it. I'm sure he'll be dropping him soon, but for right now, he's playing keep away for Sam Ehlinger. We'll see how that goes for him. But
good defense from Matt. I think he's another one with just like
Cook,
Henry.
He's one of the few teams that looks like he's getting stronger as the season goes on, and he's 6-3. He's in 5th place right now. The first 6 teams make playoffs, and I think he'll be one of those 6. We'll see. And the last game of the week is myself versus T-Mac. So this is Tennessee State versus the fantasy football team, and I won 96-67. T-Mac didn't put up too much of a fight. Patrick Mahomes had a good game, but his team is just so disappointing. That's the word I would use for it. Like, just so underwhelming. Everyone that's supposed to be good is just not good. You never want to start James Cook. That stinks.
Yeah, but I mean, same thing. He's got Jonathan Taylor's obviously been out. Kittle's in and out, but Cooks just didn't play because was he mad that he didn't get traded or something like that?
Coach's decision. That's just unlucky.
And he was all salty. He was very salty on social media. He thought he was going to get moved, but Devontae Smith suffered bad, I guess, with AJ Brown coming there because I had him last year and he was good, but he's on a good team. But yeah, he doesn't get the targets.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill legitimately starting at tight end, which is tough.
And I just realized you can see no, you can't see my screen. Perfect. I was going to say, I just realized that I didn't really have the best week either. I mean, my team was pretty terrible had it not been for Justin Fields. Like, without Justin Fields, I would have been right there with Tom at 60 or 70 points. So that was probably the best pickup of the year for me. He's obviously going to be my starting quarterback until he starts stinking again. But as of right now, he is my keeper. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, the last 3 weeks or so for. I'm going to pull up.
So great stat, Kyle. I'm so glad you brought that up. Through the past 5 weeks, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks, he's the quarterback 2. Granted, there's been a lot of bye weeks, so like Mahomes is on bye, like a lot of these good players are on bye. But regardless, for the past 4 weeks, he's the second best quarterback. I've only had him for one of those weeks, but it's
the, like you said, like the rushing, I think, with quarterbacks, and
he broke the record, most rushing yards in a game.
Yeah, and I don't know if you watch how much college you watch, but like watching him at Georgia and then at Ohio State, like he's a freak.
Yeah.
And I think they finally are just like going to build an offense around him, and I think that's just especially a young dude, that's what you got to do.
Hopefully, man. I mean, as of right now, he's looking like he's for sure my keeper if he's going to keep this going. You know what I mean? So that was good for me. But like I said, without him, I don't even know if I get close to winning.
No, probably not. But the Bears are just one of those. I feel like people always say that in different sports. Like the game's just more fun when X team is good, and just like the Bears are one of those like classic
Agreed.
throwback teams. And it's cool when they don't suck, and they've sucked for so long.
Agreed. All
I
right.
like
So
so hopefully he can.
I've had this over my face the whole time. I apologize for the recording. That was unprofessional of me, but I'll move it back up. All right. So next we're going to look into week 10. So these are some of the games that we have going on this upcoming week. So instead of going through every team, we're just going to kind of predict who we think is going to win. So we'll start with from the bottom to the top like we always do. The first game we have is the Barack Obama-ups versus Integrity Farm Towels. This is Colton versus Dan. Colton comes in at 3-6. Dan comes in at 7-2. Currently, Dan's projected to get 106. Colton's projected to get 97. So Dan's about a 9-point favorite for that, but that's assuming Josh Allen plays. We will see. Who's your prediction?
They're playing the. I mean, I think he'll definitely play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to pull up. I'm getting an ad on.
Yeah, so am I.
Right now.
So am I.
I'm just trying to see the full matchup. Yeah, just Dan's team is. I think they're just stacked. Honestly, like I don't know if it. And the ESPN projections are so crazy all over the place. Like Waller and Swift are questionable, but
another reason I love Sleeper is their projections are so much more realistic than on ESPN. Like
Kyle Pitts has been projected to get 10 and 11 points every game, and I don't think he's got it once all year. So they definitely don't like. I think they take like their preseason predicted totals and then just divide it by the amount of games, and just every week that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean Herbert's playing San Francisco. They're coming off a bye with a good defense. But Zeke, they could feed Zeke coming. I think they're coming off a bye too. But I think Dan's team is just a little too strong. He's top of the league, and the top for a reason.
So you're taking Dan. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm taking Colton. I literally have Colton winning out the rest of the year. I just think he gets very lucky and wins all these games. I think Herbert turns it around. Maybe this is the week that he turns it around. He gets his two people back. He's going to get back. What's his name? He's going to get back. Like, why can't I even think of the name? Back? Yeah, Williams is coming back, and then Keenan Allen might actually make his first appearance this week. So I think he'll be fine. And Josh
was a keeper of yours, right?
He was a keeper of mine. He hasn't even played this year. That's why my team's so bad. Like, he only played the first week. He played like the first series, and then he's been out. So I've got Colton taking that one. The next game we have here is the Chicago Chubs versus the Golden Grinders. This is Kyle versus Nugget, and I'm sure you have a biased opinion on this. I'm actually going to take. Well, first let's look at projections. You're projected at 111. He's projected 99. I've got you to winning this game. I just think Nugget. If he's going to be starting Marcus Mariota, I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know who the quarterbacks on the waiver wire are going to be, but his best player, the Pats defense, and the Pats kicker are on buys. But I mean, Nick, like you said, Nick Chubb against Miami, he could run for 180 and a couple scores. Justin Jefferson could be a shootout in Buffalo. He's going to be a target. Chuba Hubbard, I don't know about him, but.
I just think your team's too good across the board. Like your whole entire team is good.
I feel like my team is just so slightly above average that being 4-5 like just makes a lot of sense for me. Like it's a good team. I don't think I'm gonna lose too many games, but I don't think we're too.
You just don't have any. I just would say you don't have any bad players. Everyone on your team is a good player. Where I could look at Nuggets team and objectively say some of these players are bad.
I've been pretty lucky with people not getting hurt. We're gonna do one of those.
Yeah,
but.
Well, I'm taking you in that game to win. I'm assuming you're taking yourself as well, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm going to go hopefully on a little bit of a run and see if I can make the playoffs, because that's what happened last year somehow. I think my team's better this year than last year, but I just won a few games in a row. But I don't know if the fantasy gods are going to allow 2 weeks in a row. I should have lost last week.
Well, you and me are both 4-5, so we're probably the fantasy hopefuls, I think, in the league right now. But we've got to have people lose to make the playoffs. Like, not only do we have to win, but we need like
2 more weeks. How many more weeks do we have until the playoffs?
I believe the playoffs, let me check here. The playoffs start week 15, so we've got 4 more weeks.
Okay.
So it's possible, but we're going to need some of these 6-3 teams to start losing if we have any chance of making the playoffs. But moving on to the next game. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Before you mentioned how I still am going to say his name, Young Ho Koo, but so we were like kind of behind the sideline, and he just warms up with like a backwards hat on. He just seems like one of the cooler kickers in the league. He missed a field goal, and they were very upset. But the whole crowd gives like a nice coo
I love
chant
that.
while he's lined it up. So
I love that.
we thought he was getting booed, but yeah, he seems like a cool guy.
I love that he's on your team too, and you got to root for him while he was there. Didn't he have a game-winning kick? Was that game? No, or did they win by a couple?
But no, so they lost. The Chargers had a game-winning field goal,
Oh, that's fair.
and he missed one. Kind of
Dicker the
early
kicker.
that
Dicker the kicker ended up winning that one.
was-
All right, so getting to the next game here, we have Airsoft Thugs versus Bandwagon Fan, and the two guys that are now in the group chat bowl. They used to not be, but they currently are. So we got Mike versus Brando, and Mike's coming in at 7-2. Brando's coming in at 6-3. Pretty good matchup here. Probably a fantasy preview, if I'm being honest. Right now, Mike's slated to get 105. Brando's slated to get 98. Let me take a quick look at this matchup here and see if who I like. Who do you like at first glance?
Well, the first glance was to Aaron Rodgers playing Dallas, and I don't like that at all for Brando.
Yeah.
And Aaron Jones against Dallas's defense. I just think they're really really solid. So that would be the first thing that jumps off. But he might have some substitutions to make. I don't know if there's a quarterback to pick up. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to do well against Dallas. But
Is he benching
exactly
Najee Harris? Is Najee Harris not in his starting lineup?
he was off last week. So actually, I don't know. Because he has the
Damn.
Pittsburgh defense. So I think they were off. But
Damn.
yeah.
Well,
I don't-
I'm going to take Mike. Mike's team is too good across the board. I mean, his stack of Tua and Tyreek is probably going to win him the week. In comparison to Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, I think Aaron Jones is banged up, and Aaron Rodgers just against Dallas is going to be running for his life.
Not a bad substitution for Lamar is Tua. And I've talked more shit about Tua than pretty much anybody that I know, and he's perfect for this offense.
He's in
definitely the
MVP
best
contention. You have to call a spade a spade. He might be up there.
I mean, I know it's stupid that it's a quarterback award, but Tyreek Hill is the MVP.
Absolutely. Didn't Cooper Kupp win it last year? Oh no, did Aaron Rodgers win it last year?
Yeah.
Oh well, Cooper
Offensive
Kupp
player
should
of
have
the
won
year.
it. All right. So the next game, I'm sorry, we didn't pick our people. I've got Mike winning. Are you the same?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same. I also need Brando to lose, so I'm kind of rooting for these 6-3 teams to lose. All right. So the next game we have here is Colpo's second boyfriend versus Tennessee State. Tom versus Jim. And Jim has had a difficult season. So has Tom. Both these guys have been struggling. Right now, Jim's supposed to have 114 to Tom's 104. So a pretty close game. I'm going to take a look at this here, and I'm actually going to go for, let me take a look here. Yeah, I've got to take Jim. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be gross.
I think Saquon and McCaffrey are both going to be really good. Like Pittman could be a wash, like we said with Ellinger, but there's just a lot. That's a lot of good running backs.
Yep, and Tom's team has just been unlucky. All his players that I'm looking at right now just look like Montgomery's might not even be the best running back on his team. Jonathan Taylor might not even start.
Sure.
Drake London, they don't pass the ball. Devontae Smith is not getting fed the ball. But you never know. A couple of weeks he does. Deebo Samuel should be back this week, so that'll be good for him.
And Mahomes is Mahomes, so he could always throw for 4 touchdowns and run for
Well,
another
dude, I mean,
200 anyway.
even last week, Mahomes gave him 33, and he still only put up 64. So, like, he's got to have more help than just Mahomes. But Mahomes is always going to help. I think he just needs Jonathan Taylor to start playing football again, and he'll be fine.
And I feel like the Colts, like having one of the best offensive linemen in your franchise, like yell at you for a week, maybe they'll run
Yeah.
block a little bit. He might run,
That should help.
They could run the ball 60 times in that game against
That's fair.
against Vegas.
That's fair. I still got Jim winning that game, though, and he's going to move to 4-6, I believe. We'll see. Are you taking Jim as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think again the Barkley McCaffrey combo I think is going to have a big week.
And the next game here is the America's Game of the Week. We have Fart Prescott and the boys versus Amon Raw Dog Culpo. So this is Matty Will versus Zach. Both these teams are 6-3. They're 4th and 5th place respectively. And currently, Matty Will's.
You need both to lose.
Yeah, exactly. We need a tie. Matty Will is coming in at 101 and Zach's coming in at 99. So a very, very close game. Let me take a look at this matchup before I make my decision. Let me see here.
This is by far the game of the week. So that was
Definitely.
Also, before Matt does still also have the Ravens defense who are on a bye.
That's fair. He'll change that out and get some more points. So Matty Will might actually go up there.
the Jets defense on his bench, who's also on a bye. So
Yeah, he's gonna have to drop
see
someone.
the Raiders if he wants, because I'm probably going to drop them as soon as we end this call.
I am going to. I'm gonna take Matty Will in this game. I think he has a good enough team where Zach is going to be hoping that Raheem Mostert and Tony Pollard score a lot of points, I think is what's going to happen. Ramondre Stevenson is on bye. He traded to have him really in his team. Fart Prescott's going to get his first start for that team. We'll see how he does against Green Bay. I'm sure he'll do fine, but I just don't see Raheem Mostert putting up enough points. I think he's actually behind Jeff Wilson now.
He has been for several weeks, and no one wants to trade for him.
Yeah. And Tony Pollard's the second running back as well. I mean, like always, Zach's going to prove me wrong, and Travis Kelce will score 9 touchdowns. But for now, at least, I'm going to pick Matty Will because his team on paper looks to be better.
One other kind of caveat, too, is that Seattle-Tampa game is in Germany. So
Is it really?
About that. I forgot about that until I just saw that the 9:30 a.m. Eastern start time. We are in first game in Germany, so I don't know who that helps or who it hurts, but
Oh, it's going to help Tom Brady. Are you kidding me? That is a white supremacy country, and Tom Brady's going to thrive there.
I think to get out of Florida, I feel like he sold his soul to get that one more Super Bowl, and now his life is unraveling. So
It's the Seahawks that are playing in Germany?
Seahawks Bucks are playing in Germany.
Yeah, so I'm giving the benefit to Tampa Bay. I don't know the time zones there, but that has to be polar opposites of Seattle, right? Like it's got to be a 12-hour difference, right?
Long trip.
They're going to be so jet lagged.
That's tough. Really, yeah, I think they're probably 6 hours ahead of East Coast.
Yeah, no, I only know that because when I watch German League soccer here on the West Coast, I have to watch it at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Yeah. Are you? I guess it's west, right?
We're still west.
Pacific?
We're still west.
So you got a nice early, however early you wake up on Sunday.
Yeah. It's going to be weird for the World Cup too. Kyle, did you know that Arizona doesn't acknowledge daylight savings time?
Do, and I love it about them. And
Dude, why does Nevada not do that? We're right next to them. I feel like we should do the same thing too.
I don't know. I don't know why we all don't do it.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Nice post about daylight savings. It said you get kind of like set up like a trade value chart, and it said you get 1 extra hour of sleep. You lose the will to live after 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Dude, honestly,
honestly.
Honestly, it's the word when you look outside at 5 p.m. and it's dark, or like you're on your drive home and it looks like it's midnight. Like that's so depressing.
It's just weird. I know you don't miss this about New England. It was 77 degrees on Monday. It was like, and then it was like 22
during the day. Yeah, I was gonna say, and then it turned.
No. It will just 2 days, two like middays in a row. It was like the hottest day ever, and then like back to 30s. Like
Well, Kyle, Vegas is interesting because, like, I'll wake up and go to work, and I have to have my AC on full blast. And then when I leave, I have to have my heat on full blast. Like, it gets so cold here. I didn't realize the desert gets that cold. It gets so cold here, Kyle. I think it was like 31 degrees the other night.
I've been out. I mean, yeah, I've never been out in this time of the year, but I used to go for work if you've been to the convention center yet, it's
I drive by it. I drive by the strip every day to work. It sucks.
There's so much floor space, like one of the biggest buildings I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having to wait in the cab line in August, and it was 117 degrees.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's well, so it's so hot because once the sun's up, there's no clouds, so it's just like the sun's beating down on you till about 2 p.m. and then once the sun goes down, dude, it literally flips. It gets so cold at nighttime. I literally have the heat turned on right now, the fireplace going. But earlier today, me and Gretchen had the windows open. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, you'll never see snow, hopefully. But yeah,
it was snowing. It was snowing like 40 minutes away from here in the mountain. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
You get any takers on the Patriots game?
Nothing yet. I'm still looking to find tickets. My buddy has season tickets, and he's already given up on the Raiders, so he's asked me which games I want to go to.
Probably get a pretty penny for that.
No, he offered me the same amount for all the tickets. So he has 2 tickets to any game, and it's $160, I think, for the tickets. They're really good seats too. So that's what I was asking. I was like, all you guys have to do is fly here, and I got tickets.
I'm gonna be out there. I told you for next year.
Yeah.
UNLV versus Bryant Bulldogs.
I'll be there, man. Me and Gretchen were just looking at like UNLV girls soccer game so we could just get into the building and see it, you know?
Do they play at the same stadium too?
They do. They play like the most random things at the stadium. So we're just like, maybe we should go see the girls volleyball tournament. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Have you been in there yet or close?
no, I haven't. I literally drive directly by it every day. And no, I haven't been in there yet.
Yeah, so I want to check. Obviously, like I think the stadiums are just like crazy billionaires trying to one up each other.
Yep.
And so that one, I feel it probably blows away Atlanta, which was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. And then LA obviously is.
I've been to the LA stadium. The LA stadium it's more than a stadium. It's like a neighborhood almost. It's like kind of like Foxborough, but like if Foxborough was made now, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, getting back to fantasy football, Fart Prescott and the boys versus Amon Ra. I've got Zach. I'm sorry, I've got Matty Will winning this game. What about you?
Same.
And the last game of the week we have here is myself versus Nico, fantasy football team versus AS St. Etienne. Also a pretty good matchup too. Nico's 6-3 and I'm 4-5. This is a make or break game for me. If I lose this week, I'm pretty much out of it. Currently right now, Nico's favored by a lot to win. I'm going to take myself because I got to have a fighting chance. But Nico's team is flying on all cylinders.
Yeah, like you said though, the DJ Moore is tough having Baker back because I have him in another league, and every game with Baker has just been like he's been a wide receiver 3. Yeah, ETN, and I feel like Kyler Murray is just due to have a good game. But the Rams defense, the Rams haven't been playing good, but their defense, they still do have 2 of the best players with Ramsey and I think it's 3. They got Bobby Wagner too, but having Ramsey and Aaron Donald, he's going to be chasing him around the entire time. But I think Stephon Diggs, I think that Minnesota and Buffalo game is going to be pretty wild. And he's got a couple guys in that game.
Well, I'm hoping so. Also, my numbers are kind of skewed here. I'm not planning on starting Greg Dulcich.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you have 3 people from Denver on your roster. So
I was just about to address that. So I don't plan on starting Greg Dulcich. I picked him up as a backup if I'm not able to pick up the next guy who I'm hoping to pick up. But I'm hoping not to start him. Keenan Allen, I'm hoping gets to play this week, and then he would replace Cortland Sutton. So I may only have one Bronco.
And if it's just their defense, I'll lean towards you. Well,
so we'll see. We'll see how the waiver goes.
I need the 6-3 teams to lose too, but you winning doesn't help me that much. I think me and you.
Agreed. Me and you are going to be competing for sure. But I mean, we've got 4 more weeks. We'll see how it goes. But either way, it should be a good week. So that's all I've got for week 9 and for week 10. What else do we have here? I don't really have much else to talk about, Kyle. Do you have anything else besides? I do have one more question for you. If Washington sells the team to Jeff Bezos, would you be okay with them changing the name again?
I honestly, they should have never changed it from Washington Football Team.
Agreed.
You had to change the Redskins. Like it was time.
Yep.
You can't have like a legitimate slur.
Yeah, it lasted long enough.
They got as much out of that. They squeezed that orange dry.
I'm right with you though. Like we had already got the jokes out of the way that we were called the football team. Like we should have just rode with it. It was a great name. It was almost like a good joke, you know?
It is because it's right on brand with like that franchise being like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, like your field is the reason that your like franchise quarterback is career's over.
Right.
It's just. But no, I think it's just different. It's super different of any professional team that's not soccer, right? Like it's just a cool, I don't know. It was
that's why I liked it, because once I started following world football, all the best clubs are called Real Madrid Soccer Club or like FC Barcelona Football Club. Like why couldn't we be called that too?
No, I think we talked about this when they were first kind of doing this. They had a couple of cool options. I think like the Red Wolves and
that's what I wanted.
What was the airplane, the naval?
It was
Force?
So some of the names they had, it was like the Washington Marauders, it was the Washington Admirals, the Washington Red Wolves, and my personal favorite, which no one brought up, was the Washington Pigskins. I think that would have been a great name.
That is a good one.
Or just the Hogs. Call us the Washington Hogs.
Yeah, the Hogs would be cool too.
Something Red with Hogs. A pig. We should have been a pig.
No, but they had one that was tied to something with the military, and I thought that was pretty cool with
I think you're thinking of the Commanders, which is probably my least favorite of all the choices.
No, it was not the C words. I love calling them. I'm only going to call them the Washington C words.
What a terrible name, dude. Even when you make a new team in Madden, they have better names than the Commanders.
Yeah, I forget which one. I think the Red Wolves maybe. Yeah,
I was down for them to
back.
change to the Red Wolves and then completely change our color scheme to red and white. Like, if you're going to make a new name, make a whole new everything.
I do love their burgundy. I love the burgundy.
I love the burgundy and gold, but I hate that it's
tails.
the red tails. I like that too.
Washington Red Tails.
I just feel like if you're going to keep burgundy and gold, like, I don't want to see Commanders on a burgundy and gold jersey. I have a white and red Commanders jersey, and I just hate that it says Commanders on it. Like, can we just put Washington? Like, I don't know.
What do you think they sell the team by the end of the year?
Yes, I think they sell it I think they sell it in the off season after the season's over. I don't know if it's going to be Bezos, but I'm sure it'll be someone similar to Bezos. And I don't think they changed the name, but I can see them changing, like rebranding it with a new stadium.
I could see it. I mean, what's the difference changing it for a third time in 3 years? I think that would be good.
I'd be down, honestly. I mean, but the Commanders Commanders sucks.
It's not. It doesn't do it. But I saw that because another team that's going to get sold is the Phoenix Suns, and I was listening to Charles Barkley on a podcast, and someone was asking if he would want to be in the group that purchases it. He said he wouldn't want to be like a minority owner. It's not worth it to him. He'd rather have his $20 million. But then he heard Barack Obama might buy into the group, and he's like, well, hold on. I think if Barack Obama could get into Washington, I think that would be really cool. And then
that would be sick.
Then you can keep the Commanders, because as a commander in chief,
that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm not a big fan of Jay-Z buying us.
If Bezos buys it, I don't know. If Bezos buys it, that's going to be weird. But
free Amazon Prime for all Washington Commanders fans. I'm down.
We should get free Amazon Prime for having to watch those Thursday night games.
Our game was all right. It wasn't the worst. We ended up winning. I'm a little biased.
Last week was good.
I'm a little
Last week
biased.
wasn't bad with. I'll watch the Eagles. They're fun. And then even Houston, like I like Lovie Smith a lot, and like they have a terrible record, but they've been competitive in every game. So like there's really been no teams that are just getting their asses kicked, except like once here and there. I think the Colts might have to eat some of that for the rest of the year, but
all right, well,
you never know.
This has been a wonderful podcast. I'm going to end the podcast the way we started the podcast. So Kyle, the World Cup starts in a few weeks, and I'm going to throw out 4 names, and you tell me who you think's going to win of those 4, okay? I would say just give me who you think's going to win, but I think that's a little too hard. So I'm going to give you the 4 favorites. You tell me who you have to win, or better yet, tell me who you have in the final. So we got Brazil, Argentina, England, and then I'll also throw Germany in there. Out of those 4, who do you think's going to be making the championship?
Is there an actual decent answer, or like my?
Oh no.
Top 4?
No, this is genuinely like I just want to hear your prediction so that
we'll go Brazil and Germany. I'll go Brazil over Germany. I don't know if that how the bracket works.
Okay.
I'll go Brazil over Germany in the World Cup.
And then I'll throw my predictions in there. I have 3 predictions. So who I think is going to win is Brazil. I'm right there with you. I think there's no chance that they lose. However, who I want to win is the Netherlands, Holland. They're like the orange team, the Dutch boys. That's who I want to win. And the last thing I'll say is the team I bet on to win is Argentina. I put a $100 bet on Argentina to win because FIFA and soccer is rigged, and Messi's going to win, and that's what's going to happen, I think.
Where is it? Qatar? Is that this year?
It's in Qatar. Yeah, this is the first time in the history of the World Cup it's been done during the winter. It's all corrupt.
Oh my God! There's a crazy HBO Real Sports about like how many. Basically, they were like bussing in migrant workers to build it. Like dozens of them were dying.
Dude, everything about this is insane. Have you read the rules for the people attending the World Cup yet?
No.
Okay, so I'll read you my 2 favorites, or my 3 favorites. No drinking, no cursing, no gay people. I think that's absurd, dude. Are you kidding me? This is insane.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't like soccer, is the corruption and the.
Oh, it is so corrupt, dude. It is so.
That's what it is.
It is so corrupt. There's going to be so many match fixing. It's going to be the worst thing in the world, and I can't wait to be up at 4 a.m. to watch all this. I'm going to be a zombie for the next month.
I'm looking forward to like the documentary about this World Cup.
And how terrible it was.
40 years. I feel like they already know it's not. It's barely a secret. Like I can't. They actually have a rule that says no gay people.
Yeah, for real. You're not allowed to be gay while you're there.
How do they judge that? Like,
All the women have to be like covered up. Like you have to, not like completely covered up, but you can't show certain parts of your body.
yeah.
And I saw a tweet the other day about the living quarters for the people coming to stay there, and it just looks like it's going to turn into the Fire Fest.
That's what like the living quarters of the people that were working on because they just built it. That didn't exist. Like
Right,
they had to build a city basically for
right.
it. Um, and they were just bussing people in from all these other countries, and they were just dying. They were like, "All right,
Kyle,
I'll
I,
get
I
another bus."
I believe there's 8 stadiums that were built, and after the World Cup is done, they're only going to use 2 of them. The other 6 of them are being turned into like religious sites. Like it's so fraud, you know?
It's crazy that I don't know, man. That's crazy that all those countries are just like, yeah, fuck it, like, we'll send people there. Like,
There's no chance in hell they should have got it. In 2026, it's going to be in USA, Mexico, and Canada, like all 3 of us together. That's going to be pretty cool. The final's going to be in LA.
did they do that a few years ago, or was that for
That was for no, I think they did it for the Olympics, like 8 or 10. Like it was a while ago, but it was like all 3 continents, and they're doing the same thing for the World Cup too. The final's going to so fun fact, the final's going to be in LA, and the quarterfinal's going to be in the stadium you just went to, Atlanta.
nice?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
that
cool.
was outside. I would say the only downside um, stadium is there's really nowhere to tailgate. But they have this like I mean it was a private. You have to pay extra for the tickets, but like this big kind of lawn area, people playing cornhole and grilling and blasting music,
hmm
and they had DJs outside and a
I'm
bunch of Mercedes
I'm sad.
Benzes everywhere.
I'm
Obviously,
sad you didn't get to
stadium.
go around the area around there because it is the absolute hood. That's exactly where I lived when I went to Clark.
We we took the MARTA, so
Yeah.
we got to kind of go past some of the areas, but we didn't go too deep. So it was like the College Park exit or station to get off. My buddy left his phone on the train
Oh
when we
damn.
got off. So we had it, luckily like one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, a woman who works for the MARTA called the station and got some. She was like, "Is there pictures of dogs on as the back screen?" Like, well,
That's
it's the
sick.
only phone in the car. So yeah, everyone was super nice. I think that's very different. I don't know, maybe you kind of felt that growing up in New England and then going down there.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
it
people
was
just so
completely different. Absolutely. I was only there for like a year and a half, but it was still kind of crazy.
they're like strangers will just talk to you for no reason, and it's
Oh
just
yeah,
because they're
that's just
nice.
the South. Yeah.
I think just being, I mean, I lived in Texas and that didn't happen all that much. I guess Texas is its own world
Texas
too.
is kind of like the mid South. It's not the
It,
deep South as we would say.
well, like being from up here, and even like people are decently nice, but I would just never think to just talk to someone randomly, like waiting for a train, or
Yeah.
they were just like, "Oh,
Where
yeah,
you're
you
from,
going
if
to the game?"
if you stare at someone, they're like, "The fuck are you looking at?" Where down there, they're like, "How you doing? How's your day?" You know, like it's kind of different. Yeah. But all right, Kyle,
Everybody was super nice.
I have to go edit this
Oh, hey,
long ass podcast. Do you have any
this
closing
part
statements
in.
for the people?
I have a closing statement for you. Congrats on the
Dude,
job.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hold on, hold on. I'm gonna go grab the thing so you can see it.
Oh yeah.
Let me put my ear in real fast so I can hear. This is how little self promotion here. All right, there we go.
Can't hear you yet.
There we go. Oh shit. All right, there we go. All right, so this is a little self promotion here. This is how I found out I got the promotion. Ready? I got this big ass box.
Dude.
How sick is that?
So
Gave me a whole bunch
so
of
now
stuff in there.
you're is this the one now you said you don't have to talk to people anymore?
Yeah, technically. I mean, I still kind of do, but it's way easier than the like. Before, I was just a guy who worked in a store, a T-Mobile store. Now I'm going to be going and managing those people, and potentially I could be going to the store on the strip, like right on the Las Vegas Strip, and that's where I'm hoping I go. We'll see. But pretty exciting. Thank you for the appreciation. It means a lot. I've been grinding my way through T-Mobile for a couple years.
It's crazy that like I don't know, it's a job that you at the time might have figured was like just something until you find something better has turned
Yep.
into a pretty good career.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty
taking
cool
a
company.
Vegas, Pumped for you. Yeah, hey, I've been a customer since high school.
Yeah, dude, you're one of my only friends that ask me T-Mobile questions, and I'm like, no one ever asks me anything, and I'm like, dude, I work here every day. Like, please, like, never feel weird about asking me.
Still got to. So once you're like fully as a manager, can you just like take things off my bill, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't had my logins yet, but once I get them, I'll see what I can do.
Finagle it. I think we got to switch because my dad's. We still have a family plan, and he's I think like over 55. There's a bit of
Absolutely, you get a discount. Yeah.
switch it. He still has, dude. If I showed you the phone that he still uses, you would not believe it. It is I don't know the name of it, but it's an LG, and they stopped making phones like 7 years ago. They only make like refrigerators and TVs now.
Dude, so when I get to work, in all seriousness, when I get to work, text me. A lot of people return phones sometimes that we designate as like not resellable, and they're perfectly fine phones that we just end up like throwing away. Like they may not be like iPhones, but they're like newer LG, Samsung phones. Like literally text me. I'll see what I can get for you when I get there.
We're trying to get him on Team iPhone. I'm sick of the green
Yeah,
text.
yeah, please do. Please
text.
do. But all right, Kyle, I'm going to get out of here and edit this video. I don't have much else to say. We'll see you guys in week 11? Is it going to be next week?
And we're going into week 10.
Going into week 10, we'll see you in week 11. I don't know if I can promise a Skuchdown every week, but hopefully I can get one next week. If not, I'll definitely have one in 2 weeks. But this has been the Skuchdown Report. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Go Islanders.
Go Islanders. All right, Kyle.